Hi, I'm Weston. I love talking about the Jets for reasons that are still unknown to science and man, and especially myself, and yet here we are talking about week 1 of the 2024 NFL season where the Jets lose 32-19 to the San Francisco 49ers in the Monday Night Football game opener. This was incredible for many of reasons because I don't know the last time I was so giddy watching something to then immediately be smacked back down into the dirt so unbelievably quickly. Because by God, it looked so fun for a minute. I was like a child, just giggling and kicking my little feet back and forth as that drive happened. And you know the drive, the one where the Jets looked competent. A 6-minute and 7-second drive, or 7-minute and 7-second drive, and I bring that up because posted on Twitter and circulated everywhere very quickly, a longer drive than they had at any point last season, which is just, this is what I mean when I say people that aren't Jets fans don't get it. Like, that's the type of thing that I need you to understand. That was like a normal drive. That was a really normal drive. There were some good plays. There were some plays that were, not so good. And it ended with a touchdown. That was a really simple drive. There wasn't some unbelievably executed deep ball. There were a couple of really nice passes, really tight windows hit by Rodgers. We'll talk about him in a second. But it was like a drive. It just looked normal. And meanwhile, Jets fans are over here losing their minds as if it was the second coming. Because, oh my God, they scored. Like, they just simply completed passes and then scored a touchdown, which is genuinely, and I need people to understand this. That's a foreign concept. Like, watching Rodgers simply take the ball and then deliver it into a tight window that led to a simple completion, it's foreign because it's felt the past couple of seasons, debatably since, 2010, and even before that, really, because, the Mark Sanchez era was fun for a couple of those years, but it was really fun because of the defense and the run game and not necessarily the quarterbacking. Like, I don't know what it's really like to watch a quarterback consistently thwick a ball into a tight window. Like, that was insane, watching a quarterback just simply stand there and, complete passes that were good. It was unreal, and I was giddy, which, God, it's just depressing to say that aloud, but I was so happy. Like, it was a beautiful drive, and then capped off with a really nice little run by Breece Hall, who was a liability in that game, might I say. And listen, I like Breece Hall. I think he'll be fine. Holy crap, he was awful. Fourth play of the season, because God hates Jets fans. Or was it the fourth play, or was it just I can't remember actually if it was the fourth play or if it was the first completion from Aaron Rodgers. It might have been both, which honestly might be even more perfect, but gets the ball, turns, immediately fumbles it. And it's not, I don't even know that it was a bad play by Breece. You got to hold on to it there. You'd like him to. That was a really good punch. I think it was Fred Warner. It was a beautiful play by him, but coughs it up. The other turnover the Jets did was really funny, which was a tip ball that then magically, a batted ball, that was being batted into the ground. There was no intention of trying to make a pick off of it, and it just goes right into another waiting defender's hands. It was, that's the other thing. And listen, I want to be abundantly clear. The Jets lost this game because the defense was awful, and the offense wasn't on the field, which we'll again touch on. And when they ran a lot of really bad plays early in the game, which was super fun. Play calling was really unimaginative. And then it felt like it tweaked over earlier in the game where they started being creative. And I can only imagine that was Aaron Rodgers walking over to Nathaniel Hackett and saying, "Hey, no, we're not doing this." But to go back, it felt like every lucky bounce went in favor of the Niners. And when the kick bounced off the upright and perfectly in, you have to kind of giggle. Because if you don't, you go insane. You rip every hair out of your skull until you are cosplaying Charles Xavier. Because nothing could go right for them. And then there's that other drive where, like, Breece Hall, if it was in his right hand, the final drive, the final meaningful drive, I guess I should say, if it's in this hand, it's probably a first down. If Garrett Wilson, for some reason, decides not to just, like, flat foot dad stomp down a hallway at 2 a.m. and toe taps, it's a first down. But, like, nothing could go their way. But that's beside the point. Because it was not simply the bad luck of, like, the bad juju of the Jets. It was the Jets performing the way the Jets so often do that sets themselves up for failure. And offensively, it was a lot of really poorly designed run plays or just really unimaginative play calling that mostly resulted with the fact that they would just kind of repeatedly run the ball on first and second down, which did nothing because the offensive line wasn't in sync. Here's the thing. I think the offensive line will be fine. I thought they looked fine in pass protection. Rodgers didn't actually, get pressured all that much. I thought that was really nice. I think he only went down like 2 or 3 times. Thank God. And yes, the times that he did go down, I was sitting there, like basically gripping my fist so tight I nearly bled because I was terrified. Because how could you not be? The offensive line will be fine in that respect. I think with run blocking, they'll get better as the season progresses. I have faith in that. But oh my God, it was terrible tonight. Speaking of terrible, and this is the biggest thing, the defense was awful in a way that I haven't seen in a long time. Like, genuinely, they looked outclassed in every aspect. The 2 things that I really want to touch on, one, the running game for the Niners ran them over. And I'm halfway I am lost somewhere between, the Niners are just, like, offensive line merchants. I could go gain yards for them in the backfield. And, oh my God, the Jets might have the worst run D in the sport right now. Because what was that? Like, they got ran over badly. They got eaten alive, the defensive line, especially in the run game. And it looked bad. The other thing that was insane to me was in the first half, Sauce Gardner getting benched for God only knows why he was benched. I, to an extent, I can figure out the thought process behind their whole, like, rotating the defensive line thing. I don't think this was that. I assume that Sauce Gardner did something that to the coaching staff was unacceptable and they had to bench him to prove a point for some reason. Which, like, listen, read the room. That's the best player on your team. Not the best cornerback on your team, which he is. Not the best defensive player on your team, which he is. Not the best... I would go, not even just the best player on your team, which, one more time, bring it in, he is. That's the best corner in the sport of football, and you are, for some reason, deciding to bench him to, I don't know, prove a point? That's all I can think of. Like, it has to be that you were just trying to prove a point for some reason, which, like, go directly to hell, might I say. That is insane. And this was just the epitome of the organization, the team, the coaching staff, so much just slapping us in the face. Because here's the thing. Like, at the end of it all, I am not losing it over the fact that you lost to the 49ers. They were in the Super Bowl last year, and they gave the Chiefs all they could handle. They were a win away from the Super Bowl the year previous to that. They're a good team, and that isn't lost on me. They're a really, really good team. They're one of the best teams in the NFL. They're probably, like, if the Super Bowl matchup again is Niners-Chiefs, I don't think anyone would be shocked. They are 2 of the best teams in the sport. The 49ers are really, 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 really good, and you're playing in their house on opening night, on Monday Night Football. I can easily go along with the fact that you're going to lose that game. And the offensive line's gotten some new pieces. Rodgers is coming back, and he hasn't played in a while. He's probably got to knock off the rust, although he was not an issue at all. I thought Rodgers played a really, really good game. I thought he was delivering the ball really well. I thought he was reading really well. He got that super nice little play off of the free play to Lazard. I thought Rodgers had a phenomenal game. He and Garrett Wilson looked just on the same wavelength. right? I have no problem with that. I thought he was great. But, coming into it, I'm like, yeah, I don't know how he's going to look. He ended up looking great, and I don't have a single fear about him. Speaking of also great, the Jets legitimately might have 3 rostered quarterbacks better than anyone they had last year, which is kind of hilarious. Tyrod Taylor looked really good on that last drive, but beside the point. It's not that you lost, it's that you got ran off the field. It is that the Jets, who fancy themselves a Super Bowl contender, that is what they are. And you look at the roster construction, you look at the money, you look at the draft picks that they've, spent past couple seasons, cough, cough, Aaron Rodgers trade. They have to be a Super Bowl contender right now. Like, they have to. They don't have a lot of prospects for 5 years from now. They have some defensive prospects. Obviously, they have some good stuff on offense. But the NFL is basically a competition of who can have the good young quarterback on a cheap deal. The Jets are the opposite of this, where they have a quarterback making a good bit of money. Not the most against the cap. I understand that he took some deals to help them with the cap space. But you have Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson, who are both probably top 10 at their position. Can I say that about Garrett Wilson yet? He's a very, very good receiver at the very least, and when it comes time to pay him, he's going to get a large sum of money. Gardner is genuinely the best corner in the game, and I don't think that's really... Let me rephrase that. It's not up for debate against people who understand the sport of football and for people that just want to hate on the Jets because boo, rah, 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 Jets. He's terrible and holds every single play, so to each their own. Your mileage may vary on the Sauce Gardner thing. They need to be competing right now, and it's not that they lost, it's that they looked outclassed. It's that they looked like last year against a good team, or the year before that. It's that you get back, and you have all of this lead up, and you get embarrassed to the point where Rodgers still hasn't completed a game. He was benched because you couldn't afford him going out there and getting hurt. You got beat so terribly when you have everything looking your way. You even got gifted McCaffrey being out, and you got demolished. You got steamrolled. And this is the collection of idiots that I have tied my wagon to when it comes to football. And I realized through it all, as the teams took the field, as I saw the goofy little green helmet start hopping, jogging onto the field, it really dawned on me how deeply I love this team and how they have not given that love back to me as a fan. Because after all of this, after everything to lead up, you go out against the Niners and you look like a college team. You look unprepared. The defense looked completely undisciplined. They look undisciplined everywhere. The defensive line was awful. They could not pressure him. There were so many plays that just by design they ate the defense alive. Not because they were bigger or better. I'm not going to complain because, the safety that weighs 130 pounds soaking wet didn't tackle Deebo Samuel alone in the open field. What's the problem there? I'm not an idiot. I understand that Deebo Samuel is a freak of nature. But when you have players that are turnstiling defenders, cough, cough, Ashton Davis on that one play, that's when I get frustrated. When they are so clearly demolishing you simply because you're undisciplined, that's when it really starts to aggravate me. And the defense, that's the thing. It's so quintessentially Jet that following back-to-back seasons where they had one of the best defenses in the sport, debatably the best defense in the sport last season, they come out and they get worked under a field by the Niners. And it just... I don't understand how it always ends up like this. It's genuinely... Like, even I, seeing the red mist the way I am... Can I call it the green mist? I feel like that would fit a little bit better. Even I, seeing the green mist, find it a little bit funny. And then beyond all of it, I'm not even concerned. I'm just really, really disappointed. Breece Hall looked fine once he started to get going. The few times he had open field, he looked good. The offensive line, I thought, got better as the game went along. And they started to get a little bit of chemistry going. I think they'll figure it out. Garrett Wilson looked great. Allen Lazard looked great. He had a terrible play. The first pass of the season for Rodgers was terrible to Lazard. But dude, after that, he looked great. He and Rodgers are still on that same connection. Mike Williams didn't have a lot, but dude, the couple of times he was on the field, you noticed him. Really good blocking. They're gonna get him involved. The defense did not play well, but your corners, when they were actually able to do their job, when you actually could see Sauce in coverage, when you could actually see Reed in coverage one-on-one, they were still looking really, really good. And ultimately, I am disappointed that the defense played the way they did. I'm disappointed that they never gave the offense a chance with the ball. I mean, you were getting outpossessed like 39 minutes to 16 before that final drive. It was embarrassing. The offense never was on the field. But I'm going to say something that I never thought I would say with the Jets. The defense has earned the benefit of the doubt to where I think they will figure it out. And so, yeah, that game sucked. It was incredibly frustrating to watch it happen like that. And it is deeply insulting that following all of this lead up for the past 2 seasons, you go out there on national television and get absolutely just curbed by the Niners. But for the first time in a couple of seasons, watch the first game, and I just kind of go, you're not going to win every one. And then you look at the next few games on their docket, and you feel just a little bit better. Because next week, they're playing the Titans. Titans, who looked like they were struggle busing against the Bears. And that has all the fixins of a get-right game. And that'll be Sunday at 1 o'clock in Tennessee. Now, Jets, I did berate you for a while, but then I became very, very nice to you. And so I'm asking you this as a friend. Please make it a get-right game, and please reward my optimism. I am begging you. But as for right now, that is all I have to say. I would like to briefly say before I end the video, because I absolutely have to put this out there, if you're looking at the jersey thinking there's no way that this person is wearing a Mark Sanchez jersey in the year of our Lord 2024, I got news for you. I am wearing a Mark Sanchez jersey, because super long-time viewer of the channel, super long-time friend of the channel, Benny, from Texas, found this at a thrift store, and I have never been happier to receive something. I genuinely decided in the moment when he showed me a picture of it and was like, hey, look at this. I'm like, I don't need to buy a new jersey. I have a new jersey. This is all I've ever wanted. And it is legitimately amongst everything in that closet, not including my very first one, like the child Mark Sanchez jersey that I wore around my neck last season during some of the dark games. This might legitimately be my favorite jersey in that closet. It is just so beautiful, and I had to shout him out and say thank you once again in video form, because it genuinely is one of the coolest things I've ever received. And I wanted to end just a little tiny bit more positive. And now I say that fun little part, which is I am going on a long work trip to Michigan. I don't know what the videos are going to look like for the Jets when I'm up there, nor do I know what they're going to look like for the Astros or the Rangers. So there is a possibility that I am here next week following that game against the Titans to talk about it. But we're going to find out, and we're going to play it by ear. As for right now, that is all I have to say. If you enjoyed the video, please consider to like and subscribe. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day. And as always, go Jets.